Wow.
After we have been exposed to an infection, our immune system remembers the threat, in particular by producing antibodies. These are proteins that circulate in the blood and throughout the body. They quickly recognize and disable the invader upon contact, thereby preventing or minimizing illness. This is why we usually do not get sick with the same bug twice. We are immune. Vaccines mimic this process, encouraging the immune system to make antibodies without us having to go through the illness. Some of the leading SARS-CoV-2 vaccine candidates are mRNA vaccines, based on incorporating the genetic blueprint for the key spike protein on the virus surface into a formula that, when injected into humans, instructs our own cells to make the spike protein. In turn, the body then makes antibodies against the spike protein, and they protect us against viral infection. This strategy is faster than more traditional approaches, which often involve generating weakened or inactivated forms of a live virus, or making large amounts of the spike protein to determine whether they can prompt an antibody response. Once a potential vaccine is discovered, a number of checkpoints exist before it can be administered to people. First are preclinical tests, which involve experiments in a laboratory and with animals. Scientists must ensure the vaccine candidate is not only effective, but also safe. For example, an antibody response to an imperfect vaccine could, under extremely rare circumstances, end up increasing the danger of becoming infected. When the potential vaccine achieves the necessary preclinical results, clinical trials can begin in a small group of people. As the vaccine candidate advances, it is tested on increasing numbers of people, with scientists and doctors closely monitoring safety, efficacy, and dosing. Upon successful completion of clinical trials, the vaccine candidate must be reviewed and approved by regulatory agencies such as the FDA before large-scale manufacturing and distribution gets underway and the licensed vaccine is administered widely.
What we know the vaccine does is it prevents symptomatic disease. What we don't know if it does or not is to prevent infection. And if you are infected, but you don't get sick because of the vaccine, you can still replicate the virus and transmit the virus. Currently, our recommendations are that if you've received the vaccine, you still wear a mask, maintain social distancing, frequent hand washing, and avoid gathering in large social circumstances.
All COVID-19 vaccines being developed aim to produce immunity to the SARS-CoV-2 virus by stimulating an immune response to an antigen, usually the characteristic spike protein found on the surface of the virus. Some traditional vaccines achieve this by modifying the virus to weaken or disable it, so that when introduced to the body, an immune response can be generated to the antigen, without the virus causing disease. When the immune system comes into contact with the weakened virus, its defences, such as antibodies and T cells, attack the virus or infected cells. In the process, specialised memory cells take note of the specific antigen and prime the immune system to produce cells and antibodies that will quickly target these proteins. So the next time that person is exposed to the same virus, the immune system is ready to fight it off. Instead of using the whole virus, another way to trigger immunity involves using just fragments of it, like the spike proteins. These subunit vaccines have the advantage of being relatively easy and cheap to produce, and are incapable of causing disease because these fragments are not able to infect host cells. However, they are less likely to be recognised by immune cells aimed at attacking infected cells, which means they may trigger a weaker immune response. Because of this, subunit vaccines often include chemical agents called adjuvants, which are designed to stimulate a stronger immune response, and booster shots may also be required. Not all vaccines are designed to introduce antigens to the body. Some work by using cells in a patient's body to produce the antigens themselves. Examples include viral vector vaccines and mRNA vaccines. In both cases, the goal is to get a short fragment of genetic code taken from the target pathogen, in this case the SARS-CoV-2 virus that causes COVID-19, into the patient's cells. By hijacking the cellular mechanisms, these kinds of vaccines mimic the way viruses normally reproduce during natural infection. But rather than creating copies of the virus, the cells only produce large amounts of antigen that then usually trigger a strong immune response. Viral vector vaccines achieve this by inserting the genetic code for the antigen into a harmless virus, which effectively acts like a delivery system to get the code into the cells without causing disease. Vector-based vaccines can be complex to develop, but they can trigger strong immune responses without the need for adjuvants. And in theory, one type of vector can be used to deliver code for a range of different antigens, which can speed up vaccine development. Nucleic acid vaccines, like mRNA and DNA vaccines, also involve inserting genetic code into cells to produce antigens. But instead of using viruses to deliver the code, these vaccines take a more direct approach that involves inserting the code directly into cells, either by attaching it to a molecule or by forcing it into cells using a gene gun. These vaccines can be quick and cheap to develop, but they are a relatively new technology. With hundreds of COVID-19 vaccines now in development, it's likely that a mixture of different approaches will be needed in order to stop the global spread of this coronavirus and end the pandemic.
Oh, it's on. Release the meteor! Oh!
He's looking at you, kid.
I dig it.
That felt pretty great.
What's more dangerous? A man who isn't afraid of death or one who's found everything to live for? I asked him if he was proud of me. He emphatically said yes, as he laid his pecan-colored head on my chest, and I went through my mind 1,000 times to figure out what that could possibly mean, and every single example ended in motivation for me. So you may not be afraid to die, but I'm more afraid to let them down. And I found something to live for, which is a dangerous motive forever fueled. See, your thoughts may be involuntary, but my actions are very calculated. I was a man with a plan, but now I'm a dad with a decree, and you can't take that from me. My sons ain't raised by no coward, and they won't be one either. If this be the measure of a man, the yardstick gon' need way more meters. I take it too far, so they never come up short, because I found everything to live for.
If you ever find yourself stuck in the middle of the sea, I'll sail the world to find you. If you ever find yourself lost in the dark and you can't see, I'll be the light to guide you. Find out what we're made of when we are called to help our friends in need. You can count on me like 1, 2, 3, I'll be there. And I know when I need it, I can count on you like 4, 3, 2, and you'll be there. 'Cause that's what friends are supposed to do, oh yeah. Ooh, ooh, yeah, yeah. If you're tossing and you're turning and you just can't fall asleep, I'll sing a song beside you. And if you ever forget how much you really mean to me, every day I will remind you. Oh, find out what we're made of when we are called to help our friends in need. You can count on me like 1, 2, 3, I'll be there. And I know when I need it, I can count on you like 4, 3, 2, and you'll be there. 'Cause that's what friends are supposed to do, oh yeah. Ooh, ooh, yeah, yeah. You'll always have my shoulder when you cry. I'll never let go, never say goodbye. You know you can count on me like 1, 2, 3, I'll be there. And I know when I need it, I can count on you like 4, 3, 2, and you'll be there. 'Cause that's what friends are supposed to do, oh yeah. Ooh, ooh. You can count on me 'cause I can count on you. If you ever find yourself stuck in the middle of the sea, I'll sail the world to find you. If you ever find yourself lost in the dark and you can't see, I'll be the light in need. You can count on me like 1, 2, 3, I'll be there. And I know when I need it, I can count on you like 4, 3, 2, and you'll be there. 'Cause that's what friends are supposed to do, oh yeah. Ooh, ooh, yeah, yeah. If you're tossing and you're turning and you just can't fall asleep, I'll sing a song beside you. And if you ever forget how much you really mean to me, every day I will remind you. Oh, find out what we're made of when we are called to help our friends in need. You can count on me like 1, 2, 3, I'll be there. And I know when I need it, I can count on you like 4, 3, 2, and you'll be there. 'Cause that's what friends are supposed to do, oh yeah. Ooh, ooh, yeah, yeah. You'll always have my shoulder when you cry. I'll never let go, never say goodbye. You know you can count on me like 1, 2, 3, I'll be there. And I know when I need it, I can count on you like 4, 3, 2, and you'll be there. 'Cause that's what friends are supposed to do, oh yeah. Ooh, ooh, you can count on me 'cause I can count on you. If you ever find yourself stuck in the middle of the sea, I'll sail the world to find you. If you ever find yourself lost in the dark and you can't see, I'll be the light to guide you. Find out what we're made of when we are called to help our friends in need. You can count on me like 1, 2, 3, I'll be there. And I know when I need it, I can count on you like 4, 3, 2, and you'll be there. 'Cause that's what friends are supposed to do, oh yeah. Ooh, ooh, yeah, yeah. If you're tossing and you're turning and you just can't fall asleep, I'll sing a song beside you. And if you ever forget how much you really mean to me, every day I will remind you. Oh, find out what we're made of when we are called to help our friends in need. You can count on me like 1, 2, 3, I'll be there. And I know when I need it, I can count on you like 4, 3, 2, and you'll be there. 'Cause that's what friends are supposed to do, oh yeah. Ooh, ooh, yeah, yeah. You'll always have my 4, 3, 2, and you'll be there. 'Cause that's what friends are supposed to do, oh yeah. Ooh, ooh. You can count on me 'cause I can count on you. If you ever find yourself stuck in the middle of the sea, I'll sail the world to find you. If you ever find yourself lost in the dark and you can't see, I'll be the light to guide you. Find out what we're made of when we are called to help our friends in need. You can count on me like 1, 2, 3, I'll be there. And I know when I need it, I can count on you like 4, 3, 2, and you'll be there. 'Cause that's what friends are supposed to do, oh yeah. Ooh, ooh, yeah, yeah. If you're tossing and you're turning and you just can't fall asleep, I'll sing a song beside you. And if you ever forget how much you really mean to me, every day I will remind you. Oh, find out what we're made of when we are called to help our friends in.
Hi, this is Dr. Sabrina Asumu. I am an infectious disease physician at Boston Medical Center.
Hi, this is Dr. Marcela Del Carmen, gynecologic oncologist at the Massachusetts General Hospital.
Hi, this is Dr. Sherry Blauett. I'm a physician at Spalding Rehabilitation Hospital and the Brigham and Women's Hospital, and I also serve as Director of Disability Access and Awareness for Spalding.
I am here to talk to you about the COVID-19 vaccine. The vaccine can protect you, your family, and our community, and it will help us end the pandemic.
As the vaccine is distributed here in Massachusetts, you may have questions. The COVID-19 vaccine is safe. It went through rigorous testing and followed the safety measures that are used for all vaccines.
Tens of thousands of people participated in the vaccine trials to prove it's safe, and most people only reported mild side effects.
As a doctor, I know the vaccine is safe. That is why I got the shot, to protect myself, my family, and my patients. When it is your turn, trust the facts and get the shot.
Trust the facts and get the shot.
Trust the facts and get the shot.
If you have questions about the safety of the vaccine, or if you want to learn more about when you can get a shot, visit mass.gov/COVID vaccine.
There's a lot of excitement right now around the record speed vaccines for COVID-19, some of which are already starting distribution in parts of the world. But given that these are mRNA vaccines, a relatively new technology that has not been widely used before, we wanted to explain how they work and what happens to your body from the moment that needle touches your skin.
Like the vaccines we're used to seeing, these vaccines will be injected into the upper muscle of your arm. But unlike typical vaccines, which introduce inactive or weakened forms of a virus, these will release genetic material called messenger RNA. So what exactly does this mRNA do? Well, in a regular cell of your body, you have DNA inside of the nucleus. And this DNA stores all the information and instructions important to the functioning of your cells, your body, and ultimately makes you, you. Inside your cell is machinery that reads through your DNA and transcribes it into mRNA, which then leaves the nucleus and goes into your cytoplasm. And it's here that the ribosomes in your cells read the RNA and, depending on the specific code, build a series of amino acids which fold in on themselves to make proteins which keep you alive and functioning. This process is known as translation. In fact, it's this process that viruses take advantage of in the first place. They insert their own genetic information into you, and then your cell machinery unwittingly starts taking that information and building proteins to help create more viruses.
So back to the needle. The mRNA that is being injected into you from the vaccine also carries genetic instructions, but in this case, it's only coding for one small part of the virus, instead of the whole thing. You've probably seen SARS-CoV-2 represented like this, with the spikes on it, and it's this spike protein, which on its own is harmless, that the vaccine's mRNA codes for. The mRNA makes its way into the cytoplasm of your cells, where the ribosomes read the information and start to create the spike proteins. Once the protein is made, it goes to the cell membrane, and then your cell breaks down and destroys the injected mRNA instructions.
So what good does having a tiny fragment of viral spike in your body do? Well, it gives your body, and more importantly your immune system, a preview of what the virus looks like without causing disease. Suddenly, your antibodies will notice it and go, well, this doesn't belong here, which triggers an immune response to recognize and prepare your body for the real thing without ever having to come in contact with the actual virus itself.
Your immune system essentially gets a head start by creating powerful antibodies that can neutralize and kill the real virus. And this antibody memory is stored in your B cells, so that if you are ever infected in the future with the SARS-CoV-2 virus, your body now has the upper hand. This is known as an adaptive immune response. Your body has already seen these spike proteins before, and therefore it already knows what to do. Essentially, these mRNA vaccines allow your body to protect itself from a future infection without ever having to risk the consequences of getting the disease COVID-19.
So why haven't mRNA vaccines been used before? While they are relatively new, researchers have actually been experimenting with them for decades, but in the past, they've been very unstable. Enzymes in your body would break down the mRNA quickly, so they needed to be packaged well. The ones being released now have the mRNA encased in lipid nanoparticles, which essentially protect the mRNA from being degraded. Since they're more unstable than other types of vaccines, they have to be kept cold. For example, the Pfizer vaccine has to be stored at minus 70 degrees Celsius, and at normal refrigerated temperatures can only last 5 days. Of course, a global pandemic has certainly increased the funding and resources going towards these types of vaccines, which has helped to accelerate their development.
What makes these vaccines so appealing is that unlike other vaccines, they can be made in a lab with readily available materials and actually made much quicker than other types of vaccines. Instead of fully developing non-infectious viruses and then injecting them, these mRNA vaccines can sort of pass many hurdles by using your own body in an ingenious way. It's also far more cost-effective to create mRNA molecules rather than the proteins themselves, and also a lot more scalable, which is helpful when we are in a global pandemic waiting for a vaccine.
So, is it safe? And given that it's a relatively new technology, should you be concerned at all? Well, that's what these initial trial stages have been for, not only to test whether or not they work and cause immunity, but to make sure they have minimal side effects. As of now, around 70,000 people have been given these vaccines with no serious concerns, a caveat being that the full research hasn't been published yet as of recording this video. But it's important to remember that just because it's safe doesn't mean there won't be any soreness or pain. Some recipients did report aches and pains, and as of now, you'll need to receive 2 shots to ensure efficacy. I saw a really great analogy by the Professor Shane Crotty, who works in vaccine research, and he said, "It's not unlike going to the gym and getting exercise and really sore muscles. A bit of pain can be a positive sign that good things are happening. Sometimes you have to earn your immunity, just like you have to earn those biceps you wanted so bad."
We know you've been asking about these vaccines a lot. We've also had our questions, so we hope that all this information was useful and concise and educational for you, because it does sort of help make things seem less unknown and scary in a very strange time.
Thank you all so much for watching. If you want to hear more about vaccines, our podcast is on YouTube. You can check that out. We have a few episodes on vaccines.
Gossip about vaccines, to be honest.
Yes.
Moderna stealing all the glory.
You love to see gossip about vaccines. Otherwise, make sure you like this video, subscribe, and we'll see you next time for some more science. See ya.
Something more than a birthday is happening here. Once you can see it, you can help. The sooner you recognize the signs of autism, the sooner you can make a lifetime of difference for your child. Start by answering a few simple questions at screenforautism.org.